Hello and welcome to Off the Shelf Reviews.
I want a Red Ryder BB gun.
And I'm Gary, and today we're going to review and discuss A Christmas Story, which released in 1983, based on the book by Jean Shepherd, with a screenplay by Jean Shepherd, Leah Brown and Bob Clark, and directed by Bob Clark. Ian, why don't you give us the synopsis?
Well, the story follows young Ralphie Parker, played by Peter Billingsley. He's a little boy living in 1940s America, and Christmas is coming right around the corner. Little Ralphie wants a Red Ryder BB gun air rifle, but everybody keeps telling him he's going to shoot his own eye out. Can he get this amazing present for his Christmas?
What would you like for Christmas?
Horrified, I heard myself blurt it out.
I want an official Red Ryder Carbine Action 2-inch range ball air rifle.
Ooh.
No. Shoot your eye out.
So 9 years before this film, Bob Clark had some relative success, I suppose, with A Black Christmas,
yeah.
which is largely considered the birth of the modern slasher genre. And but then he followed that up with like Porky's and Porky's 2.
Yeah, the
Which is like
of American
teen
Pie.
sex comedies.
Yeah,
exactly. So I'm like, okay, this guy is like struck gold. I mean, maybe not at the time of release, but over time has been credited as such. And I kind of find it interesting that after the relative success, I suppose, of the Porky's films, the studio turned to Bob Clark and went, okay, you've made us enough money now. You can literally go and make your passion project, the film that you want to do.
Yeah.
And this was something that he had worked with Jean Shepherd over some years to get this to fruition, and it finally released. And this is the sort of Christmas film that, especially in America, like during the holiday period, there's certain TV channels that would play this film for 24 hours straight to just make sure that no matter what you were doing for that day, there would be a part of time where you could put it on and it would be on in the background and help you get into that Christmas spirit.
Yeah. This was the first time for me. I'd never seen A Christmas Story. I'd kind of wanted to, but at the same time, I'd seen all the classics, you know. I was born in 82, you were born in 83 when this film was released. And it is more of an American kind of culture institute, you know, benchmark for their holidays where, you know, you've got to follow little Ralphie Parker. I mean, there's like a whole Parker family saga film fucking series thing going on, isn't there? Like,
well, like I said, Jean Shepherd had he didn't write novels, but he wrote collections of short stories. And they were all kind of like memoirs of his childhood. So that's what Bob Clark and the writing team here have done, have taken snippets from actually multiple books that he had written and condensed it down so that we do have, I guess, the Parker family saga over subsequent movies where everyone was recast and nothing really caught the lightning in a bottle that was this one.
And this one, like I said, we're following little Ralphie Parker, you know, Peter Billingsley. We've also got, what I thought was great, we've got Jean Shepherd doing the narration over the top. So we're hearing the voice of the novelist tell us kind of in a weird kind of Wonder Years kind of flashback, you know, kind of Stand By Me kind of thing, where he's talking about this subsequent Christmas, you know, this holiday there where we see all the children, don't we? Where they see them running up to the window of the department store. Like we argue every year what makes a Christmas movie. And we've done a couple of podcasts, haven't we, where we've said, look, there's a checklist you've got to follow. Christmas Story ticks off those fucking boxes within the first like 5-10 minutes. And so you're like, this is a Christmas movie. It could be the Christmas movie. I might be going on a limb with that one. But like I said, when you see all those kids running up to the window of the department store, I know for some people watching it, they're like, oh, what's at the department store? Where's the online Amazon delivery trucks going around and the drones? No. You know, before we got too mainstream and before we went too crazy.
Coca-Cola convoys.
and all of the advertising for it. You used to just go to a department store and they would set up their window display with all of their top-of-the-line toys that they were wanting the kids to look at so that the parents would buy it.
Magical.
And, like the little animatronics, the little trains. Little Ralphie sees that Red Ryder BB gun air rifle and he wants it. he wants it bad.
He does. And that's what this whole film is really about, is that little kid just wanting that one gift for Christmas, and he needs to make sure that he's a good boy.
Yeah.
But he also, just like a child, is a little deviant. And he needs to manipulate his family into understanding that that's what he wants. And I love the sequence in the kitchen where his mum is sat there and he's just like, right. The narrator's doing the heavy lifting here. Explaining, like, he sat there thinking of a way that he needs to try to convince his mum that that's what he wants without being too obvious.
The magazines in the magazine, I thought was a great idea.
He's hiding advertisements within advertisements, puts it on her bed. And then he sat there and mum just turns around and goes, so Ralphie, what do you want for Christmas? And he's like, oh my God, I didn't expect it to be so blatant and obvious as this. And he just spurts it out like in one go. And she goes, nah, you shoot your eye out.
What would you like for Christmas?
Horrified, I heard myself blurt it out.
I want an official red undercover action 2-inch orange ball arrow.
Ooh.
No. Shoot your eye out.
Deflated, crushed, broken. Like, that was my one chance, and it's been denied immediately. And so the rest of the film from that point on is him trying to find a way to convince his parents that that's what he wants. Even when he's daydreaming about what could happen should he get that rifle, where his family are besieged and attacked by these bank robbers.
Black Bart and his gang, and he comes out with Old Blue and his little sparkling cowboy outfit, and he's gonna hold the homestead off. You know, he's gonna stop the guys. I liked those little daydreams because who hasn't done that as a kid? Gone through the local catalogue or whatever. I mean, I'm going back now to the 80s and 90s. This is what we did. We'd sit there going through a catalogue, circling certain things, trying to avoid certain pages that we knew we were going to get, like socks and pants and deodorant.
Nobody circles those.
Nobody circles those. But then you're then having the fantasy and the imagination of what that day, your Christmas day would be like when you get that one toy. You know, and how many hours you're going to be playing with it and how good it's going to be, because the adverts told you it was going to be amazing. You didn't think it was going to break the fucking first day you got it, did you? Did you?
Bit of trivia for you. The daydream sequence where he's shooting all the guys, you notice he's chewing tobacco and spitting it out? Well, the props department went in the scene, it says he's chewing tobacco. So they gave the little actor real life chewing tobacco. And then after he shot the scene, Billingsley was just like, I don't feel too well. The room is spinning. I've gone lightheaded. As all the nicotine's just flown through his body. I had to take a timeout, and they were like, "Oh, that was a mistake. Here's some squashed raisins. Chew them and spit them out." And I was like, "It's the same difference on screen. Like, why did they give him real tobacco?"
Because they had no health or safety. They were like, "Oh, he's a little actor. He can handle it." You know, if Shirley Temple can do it, this boy can do it.
Merry Christmas.
I love the whole setup as well, where they've got to go to school, and Mum's getting his Ralphie's little brother ready for school, and she wraps him up.
Right, like, he's so layered. He's like the Michelin Man.
Yeah, he can't move. He's just like, he can't put his arms down and stuff. But you know, there were so many instances in this movie that just took me back to my own childhood as well, and they weren't post-traumatic nightmares this time around, which I was like, oh wow, this is so, you know, relatable. And I was saying this to Gary before we turned the camera on, is that some Christmas movies, they revolve around the idea of the Christmas miracle, the Christmas magic, that real life kind of gets lost. You know, Santa Claus the movie, the Polar Express, even things like Gremlins and Home Alone, they rely on movie magic to allow the person to complete whatever it is and save Christmas. In this, we don't have that. We literally just have real life situations for this boy to go through to hopefully get to what he wants. And so, like this walking towards school, you know, it's so fun because you've got all the snow everywhere. You know, this is before global warming. You know, you got cars driving all over the place, and nobody's using indicators. So let's avoid all that. And then you get the situation where they're walking down the alleyway and they're being attacked by the local bully, Scut Farkas. What a name, right? Scut Farkas.
I think Farkas, roughly translated, is wolf. So, right. You know, the big bad wolf.
Bully. Nice. Yeah. That works out. I like that. Played by Zach Ward, who I recognised when I wikied him.
I recognised him straight away. I was at first, my brain went Shermanator, and I was like, no, he's too young.
He's too young.
For this. And I was like, no, wait. Yeah. Resident Evil
Apocalypse. Nikolai. He comes along and he goes, hey, I can take care of this dog. And then he gets eaten. He actually pulls off a better role in this movie as the local bully who is tormenting Ralphie and his 3 friends as well.
I love his little henchman as well.
The little henchman he's got around, the little toady he's got running around after him. He's almost the scariest Scott.
Right.
And the film does it every now and again where, like, I like the fact it's, was it like a week or something before Christmas? So you got like the last week of school, and every day they're going to go to school, and we'll get like a quick glimpse of them running down this alleyway being chased by the bully.
The sped up footage, the little brother going, hey, wait for me.
Hey, wait for me. You know, it's just, for me, it was just enough to establish this bully character.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't have to have him all the time. He didn't have to keep tormenting Ralphie like fucking 3 o'clock high.
Right.
And it did with the tiny little moments we saw of the school as well. Like, so Ralphie's in the class and he's asked by the teacher, or the teacher asked the class to write the theme for Christmas, which is going to be What I Want for Christmas. So this is Ralphie's big chance.
Yep.
He's going to write that essay about this Red Ryder BB gun.
He sat there in his little like chair just daydreaming away about how he hands in this assignment and the teacher's going to award him with an A plus with honors.
Yeah.
And you get those like kind of weird moments where he does come in the next day and he's just like, here's a big bouquet of fruit. A fruit basket.
Trying to bribe her.
Yeah, and he's just a little wink to her like, you know, like A plus, right? And he does get the report back, and it's what, C minus.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you'll shoot your eye out. And that is the prevailing message that adults were just like, health and safety for the kids, and the children are like, no, I want something dangerous and fun. But he keeps getting turned down by all the adults. It's like, oh.
Well, it's like that moment where him and his friends go out into the playground, don't they?
Yeah.
And he convinces, or they double dare one of his buddies.
Dog dare.
To stick his tongue on the metal pole.
To prove that the theory's true, that your tongue would stick to it.
Yeah, which I'm sure this movie is the birthplace for that whole idea. Like, I always heard of, you know, never putting your tongue on a cold pole during winter, and I think this is where it stemmed from. But it's like, they leave him outside. They leave this kid outside, and the teacher's like, where's this boy? He was here this morning. You must have seen him. And then she looks outside, sees the boy, and I'm like, we'll just use warm water. That's what we know now. It's warm water. No, they've got to call the fire department, the police department.
Yeah, I do like the sequence because all the kids rush over to the windows to look out and see him there.
Yeah.
But I can't remember what the other kids called. Like, Flick is the one with his tongue stuck, but Ralphie and the other boy are still sat in their tables, just like, yeah, we know he's out there.
We know he's
so
out
they
there.
already look guilty. And then the teacher does the rounds, just like, you know, well, you better fess up. It's always better to confess that you've done these things. And the narrator's just like, we're kids. We know better. It's always better to not get caught. So we're just going to sit quiet as Ralphie's looking around the classroom and like accusing everybody else. But then again, he wasn't actually involved. He was the one. It was the friend in front.
Exactly. He just left him. He was like, oh, I'm just gonna leave you there.
Adults love to say things like that, but kids know better. We knew darn well it was always better not to get caught.
We didn't, you know, we get the little kind of extra adventurous roles that they go through this movie. Like, we've got the little instance where Ralphie is after the little orphan Annie decoder ring.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, this was way before my time as well, and so for a few of you, you're like, what's a decoder ring? And so, bit of a history lesson here. Back in the day when they didn't have TVs, they just had radio shows. You would listen to certain radio shows, and then they would give you codes, numbered codes. Then you'd have this decoder ring sent to you, and it would work where you'd revolve it, and the number would link up to a letter, and then you would uncover the message that they had given to you so that you could enter more into the competition and things like that, and be part of the secret group. So Ralphie is waiting for this decoder ring to turn up. He's drinking all the Ovaltine he can get his hands on to get the special coupons, I suppose, to send them away for the decoder ring. And finally it does turn up. And finally, he does get the chance to decode his first Little Orphan Annie message on paper. And what does it say, Gary?
Be sure to drink your Ovaltine. It was a goddamn embedded advertisement.
I love that.
The frustration, the disappointment, the rejection, the horror.
Oh, yeah, Ralphie. I've been there. I've been like, I'm going to enter this competition. And it turns out just to be a fucking advert for the thing that I was not wanting.
Right? Goddamn sham. But we do also get some really fun, like, wholesome family moments. Like the dinner table. They're always eating meatloaf, red cabbage, and potato.
Yeah.
And the little brother is just like, not having it. He's playing with his food.
Oh, yeah.
Dad's getting angry, like, eat your food. You know, Ralphie's already near on finished his plate.
Yeah.
But it's the sweetness of the mother in this film. She is so wonderful, so nice. You know, she is the idolized kind of house mum, and she is so sweet with her boy. She's just like, go on, like, what sounds does a pig make?
Yeah.
He starts oinking away, and then she's like, show me how a pig eats, to get him to eat his meatloaf.
It was great, yeah.
But just the sweetness in her face, like just enjoying spending time with her child, her like young child. It was so sweet to watch. It really was.
Yeah, Melinda Dillon. I mean, I recognised her from Close Encounters of the Third Kind as the mum from that, and like I actually really preferred her mum role in this more so than Close Encounters. I love her in Close Encounters, and it's a great movie, but it's a bit over the top with just how excitable she is that she's chasing after her son who's been kidnapped by aliens. You know, in this, it's a bit more relatable for me. You know, she's just trying to keep her kids warm. She's just trying to keep them fed. She's trying to run this house while her husband, old man Parker, played by Darren McGavin, we don't know what he does for work, you know, but they're not poor. They're certainly not super rich. I just love the way how, like we said, old man Parker, he's not this scary kind of father figure, though he does have his moments, like when he's having to stomp down to get the boiler up and running.
And he just swears, but in utter gibberish.
Oh yeah,
for like 2 minutes.
It's great, but it's great because I can hear these swear words coming out, but the film's like it's a kid's Christmas movie.
Yeah.
So we're gonna change the words so that you can't understand, but kids get it.
Exactly. Darren McGavin said that it was one of the toughest things to do because he had to kind of ad-lib the entire like vitriol of swear words, but he said he knows the film needs to be PG, so he couldn't swear at all.
Yeah.
And that was difficult to just keep it flowing. Keep it flowing. But it works, especially when you got the mother trying to open the vent because all the smoke's coming out. It's great.
In the heat of battle, my father wove a tapestry of obscenity that, as far as we know, is still hanging in space over Lake Michigan.
I just love this little bit as well where, you know, the old man is entering competitions and he's hoping to win money and prizes and stuff, and he finally wins something. And it gets sent to the house in this giant crate, and he opens it up, and it turns out to be a lamp.
What kind of lamp?
A one-legged lamp. Like,
it is ugly.
I don't know about ugly. I mean, it's a bit saucy, but like I love the fact that like, what kind of competition did he enter that was the prize? And the fact that he won it. And now it's this whole thing that Dad never has won anything, which in a way I kind of relate to even more in my old age, you know, and he wants to put the lamp right center of their window, and Mum's like,
please don't.
Please. And it's bright and shiny, and all the neighbours can see it.
He goes outside and he's like, to the left, not to the right, to the right. We've got a cameo appearance here by the director, Bob Clark, who's the neighbour who comes up and questions him. And he's like, you won that? Oh, wow. They cut to the wife inside, just like, oh, God, everybody's seeing this lamp now. And I love there's a scene later when they leave the house to go and get a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
And Dad's just like, hey, the lamp's not on. She's like, oh, I turned it off to save electricity. Meanwhile, the rest of the house is lit up.
I love the fact that he went and plugged it into that plug, and there's just fucking a ton of plug adapters.
You look around that living room and I'm like, the radio and maybe another light, but where are all those other cables going? The rest of the house?
It's amazing. And then ultimately at one point, it accidentally falls over and breaks.
Yeah.
We don't know
Tragedy.
how. Tragedy. I mean, Mum was just dusting.
Didn't have a leg to stand on.
Nice.
I'm sorry.
She was just dusting and it fell down and it breaks. And Dad's so upset and he needs to go and get some glue and he tries to put it all together. And I did like the way that it looked like it would work.
And it just crumbles.
And then it just absolutely crumples in his hand and he was so upset. But it's also like the little things, like them going and getting their Christmas tree.
Yeah.
You know, like, I know National Lampoon's Christmas Holiday Special has done it best with the Griswolds, but even just them going and buying one, and it's just like, look, the guy's just like, look, this is the best tree we have on the lot, and all the needles fall off. And so he grabs another one and he goes, this is the best tree we've got on the lot. And it's
bear
like,
on the other side. Like, put it in the corner.
Put it in the corner. And then Dad's just like, no, we just want this really, really big one. We'll take the big one back to the house. And so you're just slowly just building up to Christmas. And Ralphie is just heartbroken because he's got no other way to get this Red Ryder air rifle.
Except maybe to ask Santa Claus himself.
Oh, that's it.
So he's got to wait out this entire parade. Like, while the rest of everyone's enjoying the parade.
Yeah.
Like, and Ralphie's just like, no, we need to go and see Santa Claus, man. Like, I'm running out of time here.
Yeah.
And they do get to the mall, and he gets to go and see Santa, but then, well, he gets interrupted by the narrator / writer of the film. Who's standing there with his with his wife, who also co-wrote the screenplay, who tells him, this is the end of the line, the back of the line's over there.
Yeah.
And he has to go back there, and he meets this weird kid who's like, I like Santa Claus. Apparently that guy was not meant to be in the film, but when they were filming at location, that kid was there.
Yeah.
And they were like, you want to be in the film? Yeah, say these lines. Done. You're going to be the weird kid.
He was proper weird.
I like the Wizard of Oz. Yeah. I like the Tin Man.
And it's just so nice as well, because like I've been on both sides of that kind of Santa line. I've been in the line itself, and then I've been on the outside trying to push my son into it so that he can go get his picture taken. And it just, this film kind of bridged that gap for me where I was like, oh my God, taking your child to see Santa Claus is the most terrifying thing ever.
It is in this film.
You know, because you've got this huge, massive queue you've got to stand in all the way until you get to Santa Claus, and then the kid gets whisked up and gets plonked on the lap of this stranger, and the stranger... I love the way that the camera is now focusing on Santa when Ralphie gets up there, and he's just like, ho, 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 ho! You're like, what the fuck, you know? I mean, you got that slide... Yeah, I did read in the notes that the store that they went to actually kept the slide there for a couple of years after the film was released.
But according to the behind the scenes, the kids, when they were going down that slide, were actually pretty terrified of it because it was really steep. So when Ralphie's little brother goes down screaming, those were real screams.
Yeah.
And when he lands at the end and starts crying, those were real tears because he was scared. But of course, after realizing he survived it, and it wasn't actually so bad, you know, they go round and around and they actually quite enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, it's kind of sweet.
Well, that's it. Ralphie gets taken to Santa Claus and he's just so in shock and awe of what he's seeing. He can't bring the words out, and then he's dropped out. Well, he says, do you want a football?
Yeah.
And Ralphie's just like, yeah, I'll have a football.
Yeah, he just can't think straight.
No.
Until he's part way down the slide. He's like, no, wait!
Yeah.
I want this red rifle BB gun. And Santa's like, nah, you'll shoot your eye out. Merry Christmas. And he just boots him down the slide.
Yeah.
No, I want an official Red Ryder carbonized 200 jet range melee rifle.
You'll shoot your eye out, kid. Ho, ho, ho.
So yeah, heartbroken, defeated, like there's no chance now he's ever going to get his dream present, and Christmas is right around the corner.
Yeah. And he's just building up with all that emotion. He's upset, he's in tears, he's outside the school at playtime, and he just so happens to come across Scut Farkas.
This is also right after he just got his C- as well. So and the teacher also saying you'll shoot her out. So he was angry and defeated.
Yeah.
And then Scut Farkas just...
Well, we also had that sequence as well, hadn't we, when they were driving back, I think, from the Christmas tree lot.
Oh, fudge,
where the tyre had blown out, and his mum had said to him, like, oh, you know, Ralphie, go out and help your dad. And Ralphie, first time for him, he's trying to be responsible. If he could win his dad over, maybe he could get his approval for this gun. And instead, he drops the bolts and he says the word fudge, but not the word fudge. I like how the movie did that. He's like, I wish it was the word fudge.
Yeah, the camera sort of pans up just past his lip line as he says, it drops an F-bomb, which of course is dubbed fudge, and the narrator even says it was F dash dash dash. You kind of know what it was, and so
he's just ruined.
The punishment is soap in the mouth.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if it's something that adults still do to their kids these days.
No, I think because it's child trauma and can be seen as child abuse.
I still remember the taste of soap.
Oh yeah, so do I. Yeah, fucking...
Maybe that's why I'm so well-mannered now.
Fairy liquid tastes like shit. I'll fucking tell you that for fucking nothing. But it also had a really funny sequence where his mum says to him, where'd you hear that word? And the narrator says, like, well, I hear it from Dad all the time, but I'm not going to say that. And so he dobs one of his friends in, Schwartz in. And so his mum calls up the Schwartz family, and then you just hear the screams over the phone, like, Mum, what did I do? I didn't do anything. I'm just getting this kid getting beaten for nothing. It's absolutely terrifying. But getting back to the Scut Farkas situation, Scut Farkas has come out, seen Ralphie, and
snowballed him in the face.
Belittling him, telling him he's a baby for crying, and Ralphie just loses it and beats the crap out of Scut.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, Scut goes right down and then just starts whimpering and crying immediately.
Yeah. Well, he's got a bloody nose and everything, you know?
And, everyone gathers around. They're like, oh, wow, Ralphie, wow.
Yeah.
But, of course, he gets separated. He gets brought home. And he's just waiting for the inevitable punishment. You know, like, Christmas is ruined now that he's got into this fight.
Yeah.
But Dad comes home. And that's where Ralphie's just like, this is the impending doom.
Yeah.
You know, anticipating the punishment. As Dad is now home, he's going to be doing the punishing. And Mum's just like... Dad sits down and he's just like, so any news? And Mum's like, oh, well, Ralphie got into a fight. What was it about? No, nothing really.
Yeah.
And that was it. Conversation moves on again. She covers him. And that was such a really cool, again, I keep using the word sweet moment.
Yeah. Between
mum and son there. I just love that scene, the way that it played out.
Yeah. He even says it, doesn't he? He even says, my love for my relationship with my mother changed
that day forever.
That day, you know, where he was just like, she covered for me. My dad didn't need to know. Christmas was still coming around. It was so nice because even though he's been after this present all the way through the movie, at this point, if he doesn't get it, you're kind of okay with that because... Well, he's learning the lesson.
Yeah.
You know, that's the whole point of it. It's not about the gift that you want at Christmas. It's about the family and the warmth and all that kind of stuff. So the next morning, we then get them to wake up and they come downstairs and they see the Christmas presents. And I like that when the kids the kids ended up going off the bed. And Mum and Dad are looking at each other and Dad's like, yep, let's go get them. And I'm like, yep, that's what you do. You spend all those hours trying to get the kids into bed and they're just excited as hell. And then as soon as they get into bed, you're like, right, now I need to climb into that attic space really quietly to get all those frigging gifts out so we can put them in. And then you get them all set up and the kids come running down the stairs the next morning and they start opening it. It's just...
montage of paper just being ripped and open. Yeah. It's so sweet. Especially Mum and Dad are just kind of sat there holding each other, relishing their childhood memories as they watch their kids open their presents. Yeah. It's beautiful. It's nice. Until... Ralphie opens his present from his auntie and it is this deranged Easter bunny suit. Which, of course, he's forced to wear by his mother.
Like, what?
I was like, maybe that's the secret punishment for the fight. But yeah, Dad's just like, nah, do you like wearing that, son? No, take it off. Are you going to wear it when your auntie comes round next? It's like, we've all heard that. That's how relatable this film is. And then, and it cuts to, like, a little bit later on in the morning, Mum's doing dinner. Like, she's preparing that turkey.
Well, Dad's turned to Ralphie, hasn't he? And he's just like, oh, there's one more present behind the desk.
Yes.
And Ralphie's just like, oh, really? I haven't seen it. And Mum doesn't even know about it. And they pull it out. and Ralphie opens it, and it's his BB gun. It's his Red Ryder air rifle. Dad is so happy. Mum's kind of in shock, but she's so happy because Ralphie's happy. Ralphie's so happy.
It's such a heartwarming scene because he never asked Dad for the gun.
No.
And Dad never said, "You'll shoot your eye out."
But Dad's the one saying, "Oh, I was 8 years old. I had a gun when I was young." So Dad wants to see his son be safe. And the same thing. They're like, "Oh, you be careful when you go out there." And Ralphie goes running outside and he loads it. And he fires it. I was loving it when he was loading it, and Dad's doing that kind of hand gestures as well. You just like trying to be a little kid as well. Ralphie takes it outside. He fires it, and it ricochets and almost takes his eye out.
Right. That's the problem with BB guns, is that they do ricochet, especially if you're too close to your target.
Yeah.
I know this from experience also.
Yeah, but in your imagination, that never happens because you're such a crack shot at it.
Exactly. And so then he starts like, "Oh, I need a cover story," because he dropped his glasses. He ends up stepping on them. He's like, "I've ruined Christmas."
Yeah.
So he starts crying. Mum comes out, takes him in. He's like, "No, an icicle fell on me." And then he turns to the camera, a little wink like, "I got away with it."
I got away with it.
Kids.
And Dad is a massive turkey fiend, and Mum's there trying to get the turkey ready for Christmas. And throughout the movie, they had established these dogs.
Right.
There's this pack of dogs that run around the neighborhood and always causing trouble, and Dad's always shouting at them. And while Mum's got the turkey out, the dogs get into the kitchen and absolutely destroy the turkey. And so you're just like, "Oh, well, crap, Christmas is now ruined. What are we going to do?" And so Dad's just like, "No, we're going to take you out." And we end the movie in a Chinese restaurant with the Parker family sitting around enjoying a nice succulent Chinese meal because it's a democracy. And you've got some of the waiters there singing Christmas songs or Christmas carols. Now I don't mean it to come across as anything, but I'm sure people are going to be like, "Well, that's offensive, that's racist, that's whatever it is." I got to admit, I was fucking dying with laughter because I'd never seen this sequence before, and so when they go, it's not rah rah rah, it's la la la. I was like,
No. Not rah, 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 la, 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 la.
But you have to remember, this movie was set in the 80s, being portrayed...
set in the 40s.
Set in the 40s, you know. So, like, there's this whole cultural thing going on of jokes and whatnot. So I don't think it was ever meant to be offensive. It was more meant to be realistic and relatable.
Yeah.
And
I believe they're also singing the songs that opened the film as well.
Yeah.
And a bit of trivia here for you as well is that they gave actress Melinda Dillon a completely different script for the sequence,
right,
so that she wouldn't have a clue what was going on, which is why during the moment when they bring out this roasted duck with its head still attached,
right,
you see her reaction, pure authentic real reaction, and then when they cut its head off and she jumps and screams, she had no idea any of this was going to happen because she had a completely different script. So it was done in one take, done, brilliant, and in the can. And it is great. Just once the whole family are sat there then eating their Christmas duck, it's sweet. Like the family is still together. It's wonderful.
Ralphie's got his present. Everybody's happy. Christmas
we cut to them in bed holding his gun as the narrator sees us out. And what were your favourite or memorable scenes?
Oh man, I mean, after that, like, can you just have one or a couple? It's a fucking giant warm bowl of Christmas goodness, isn't it?
It is. It really is.
I gotta love just all the sequences with little Ralphie Parker, Peter Billingsley. Like, he really sells the kid idea of Christmas, probably more for me than Macaulay Culkin ever did. Pretty much because I feel it's just a little bit more relatable. You know, still going to school, having to deal with the neighborhood bully, you know, having to deal with all the family issues, and just hoping that when you get to Christmas, you get that present. I loved him running up to the window and seeing the department store kind of stuff going on, because I used to do that when I was a kid as well, and think, oh my god, I want that new Transformers toy or the new He-Man, you know, Catherine Grayskull, the Turtles action figure. I still want a fucking Turtles van, you know, with the pizza that shoots out the side. I love the daydream sequence where he got all blew out and he came out in his little sparkly cowboy outfit. That was a bit crazy. You know, the electrical plug socket, like, Like, that is why we have those fucking adverts where the Christmas tree sets on fire and burns the room down in like 20 seconds. Is because people would do that with that plug socket. The phone call that when he dubs his mate in, and the parent beating the child over the phone, that was just... I've heard that.
Yeah.
I've heard that phone, been on that side of the phone before. The radio show with little Orphan Annie where he gets his Deoda Ring and then he uncovers it, that it's just another advert. I'm like, yep, totally get that. And that last sequence with the Chinese restaurant, and the duck and the carol singing, it was just so heartwarming.
Yeah, it really is. There are so many memorable moments in the film. Of course, the ones that stick in my mind the most are the ones where the kid gets his tongue stuck to the pole.
Yeah.
The way they did that effect as well, that it was a real flagpole, but there was like a hole in it where there was a bit of plastic and like a suction tube on the other side.
Oh, okay.
So a little vacuum that would just hold his tongue there with a little bit of like pressure. So yeah, it was a really cool effect, and they pulled that off well. And the kid actor really sells that. You're like, I'm never going to try that, thanks to you, movie. Ralphie defending his family with that rifle, chewing tobacco and spitting it out. It was like, yeah, he's nailing this really well.
Yeah.
The F-bomb and then the mouthful of soap. It's like, yeah, very relatable.
Yeah.
And I suppose that there was one like edit in the film that I was quite surprised at, and it's when Ralphie or him or his brother are about to go to the toilet, and they lift the lid up, and it cuts to Mum lifting the pot lid off the thing, and like seeing the meatloaf like in there. I was just like, that was a nice match cut, but not one that I needed. I'm gonna lose my appetite, my Christmas appetite. Ian, do you recommend A Christmas Story?
I totally recommend A Christmas Story. I think it's just an absolute classic. It's certainly gone into my list of Christmas movies. I could easily just put this on 7 o'clock, 7 a.m. Christmas Eve morning or Christmas Day morning, and just have it play in the background. Watch little Ralphie Parker go through his little adventures and hopefully get that rifle at the end. Newer, younger generational people coming up, they might not get it, but it's just up there with classics like It's a Wonderful Life and Home Alone, and that's going to keep happening for generations to come, that people will look back at older Christmas movies and go, oh, did it used to be like that? Yes it did. And unlike those other Christmas movies with all the magic that'll save Christmas, this literally just has normal, everyday, relatable family stuff that you go through, and it's just so heartwarming and sweet.
Oh, hell yeah. Of course, I'm going to be recommending A Christmas Story. At this time of year especially, it's a seasonal classic that's timeless, wholesome, and fun. It's all from the perspective of a child, and it reminds you of that excitement, that energy, and innocent imagination. It was great to revisit this as an adult, and the child in me laughed and applauded at all the funny daydreams and school playground banter as the narrator evokes a strong sense of nostalgia, recalling those childlike memories, and it's really filled with love and warmth. It's really well acted, with great performances from all, though Darren McGavin steals a lot of the scenes as the old man with his gruff nature who saves Christmas for Ralphie come the end in one of the sweetest scenes, alongside Melinda Dillon, who was fantastic as Mother Parker, the caring heart of the family. So yes, a timeless classic, really is worth a watch, and a film that deserves to be played every Christmas holiday. Peace, harmony, comfort and joy? Well, maybe next year. Thanks for watching Off the Shelf Reviews.
Oh, fudge.
Only I didn't say fudge.